Peace, family. Welcome to the new year. New year, new opportunity. I had to get on here and really just talk about the markets in 2022. I wanted to talk about the five key issues that I see affecting the market here early on in Q1 of 2022. So I'm excited to really break down this video and talk about some of the five issues. And this doesn't necessarily mean that the stock market is going to go down or crash or anything. These are just top five things that I think will be kind of on everyone's mind and investors' mind. And we're going to talk a little bit about these things. One of the first things that I think is imperative and important that we talk about is actually the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve actually sliced the actual additions that they were making to the market by about $60 billion. So the Federal Reserve was actually buying bonds. So the Federal Reserve was buying, 120 billion bonds per month. We saw majority of that was happening throughout the pandemic. If we date back and we take a look at March of 2020, if you pay attention and go back to the April 10th actual Federal Reserve meeting where Jerome Powell spoke, he hence said, hey, we have bazookas that we can unload in this stock market, and that these bazookas, they will be allowed and they will come in many form and many fashions through various, overnight lending platforms and overnight lending programs that they have. So the Fed's balance sheet grew, over, $9 trillion throughout this pandemic. We've seen the Fed's balance sheet continue to grow. That was one of the main reasons why you saw like a lot of the growth companies, the Rokus, the DocuSigns, the upstarts, a lot of those high growth companies that don't really make profit, those companies were really allowed to go up. Now, I want to talk about the 10-year treasury yield. We saw the 10-year treasury yield went to about 1.5%. For those that are wondering, like, what is the 10-year treasury yield? We're taking a look at that 10-year. A lot of times you've seen that this 10-year has been below 2%. So what actually does that mean? So investors have been in a more risk on type environment. So what does that mean by risk on? So investors have been willing to actually take a chance on a lot of the companies that don't really make money yet. So you saw like a lot of even the Pelotons, the Zooms, the companies that really didn't have a positive return on equity. You saw those companies increase mightily. One of the things that I'm worried about is with the Federal Reserve pulling back more and more of that support. That's 120 billion. We're down to 60 billion starting here in January now. And then by March, the Fed believes that the taper should conclude. If we take a look back at history, guys, I think it's really key and important. We take a look at the Fed when they have tapered. We have seen some short-term downside, but that short-term downside always has posed as a longer-term buying opportunity. So that's kind of really the mindset that I'm taking in. I think that Q1 is going to be definitely very interesting. What do we have coming up here in Q1 as well, too? We have earnings season from Q4. So we'll actually get a chance to actually dissect and see how all of our companies did in Q4, which was Q4 of last year. Those companies start to report. Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. Over the next couple of weeks, you'll hear me talking about Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan as they go ahead and they get ready to report. They're going to report the second week of January. So this is another thing that I want to measure and want us to really pay attention and watch. I want to see how Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan in our banking industry really is doing. I want to see how healthy they are. I want to see if trading revenue is still increasing. That was one of the biggest things that banks did well with during this pandemic was trading revenue. Hence, the stock market is at an all-time high, but a lot of these financial firms have been doing very, very great when it comes to trading revenue, even giving out specific people bonuses as well in their firms as well, too. So we'll have the tech sector, the Microsoft, the Apples, the Netflixes, the Teslas, all of that good stuff, the Google, they'll all report their corporate earnings again as well. A couple of trade ideas that I think is noteworthy and worth. I believe Apple's going to hit $3 trillion market cap actually this quarter. I think they're going to hit $3 trillion market cap before their actual earnings report here at the end of January. So I'm excited to really get this year started off. I think those are just a couple of the main key things to, get us really started off. The Federal Reserve is the first one, and then earnings season. Earnings season is going to be an opportunity for companies to display their financials. A lot of these companies, like I said, some companies have been profitable, but other companies have not had that consistent growth, even in this type of environment where, you know, companies have made record revenues, but some of these companies are still not posting enough profits. So that's the thing. We're seeing these big businesses like Apple and Microsoft, the Googles, they've been able to hold themselves up. Why? Because they produce profits. So I think this is noteworthy for people to look at. Also, the third thing, in 2022 overall, I'm just looking for more of that, you know, less trades, I would say, less trades. Definitely taking those less trades, but also dialing in more on a longer term side as well, too. I really want to preach, you know, buying the indexes, just simply buying and holding the indexes. It works. It does work. The VOO, the VTI, VOO, I started buying it when it's like 186. It works and it pays off. It's not going to double every year. It's not going to double every 3 years. But as we've seen over time, the decisions that you make here are going to affect your life in 2030. So that's one of the things that I, you know, do want to say as we head down this road. So continue to build out your index fund portfolio. Really take that serious. Put it, you know, max out as much as you can. Your Roth IRAs, 6,000. If you have a spouse as well, go ahead and have them max it out as well too. Continue to make those contributions. That'll be the third thing. I'm gonna say this for me, probably in 2022, it's gonna be less about the trading aspect of things and more so just about that consistent building and consistent equity coming into the markets little by little. And I think that the less trades that you take, the more proficient. Focus on, because there's a lot of trades that I call out particularly, and there's a lot of things in charts, you know, that I'm looking at. And you're seeing a lot of these moves that are running up or running down, depending on how we play it. But one of the things that we're not taking, I would say, and I think everyone as a whole, we have to look at things in a bigger picture. Sometimes the best thing to do is to not trade every single day. Like, that's one of the things, is to not trade every single day. Hell, not even every single week. Every single week, you know, I can say this, I definitely traded at least once or twice every single week throughout 2021 and 2022. I'm going to be trading far less. My position sizes, when I see a position that I'm convicted on, I'm taking a position and I'm letting it ride. And that's kind of the way that I'll be doing things. I won't be out there just hunting for always moves out there. So that's the third thing that I want to talk about for traders and investors is you don't have to always hunt for a move to go out there and look for that move. Also as well, the fourth thing, crypto. So we've seen Bitcoin really defend that 42,000. Bitcoin's really defended that 42,000. 42,000 is a major support level for Bitcoin. I personally do believe that if it breaks below 42,000, though, I personally do believe that it will come back to 28,000. I personally believe it will if it breaks below 42,000. Right now, it's just in a consolidation period. I would really wait for that. I won't even wait, but I would say that I'm really looking for that next Bitcoin halving. If you take a look at the cycle of Bitcoin, you know, a lot of times you see these kind of sideways trading moments in the cycle of Bitcoin. If you date back to 2010, 2013, 2015, 2016, even when I came into space in 2017, after that run up to 20,000, it dipped back down to 4,000. But it kind of ranged in between 4,000 and 13,000 all the way until 2020. So my whole point is that honestly, guys, you could see Bitcoin, you know, go down. And it honestly would be kind of, in my opinion, it would be a great buying opportunity if it went to the downside and just kind of traded sideways little by little. I definitely believe that there's a lot more institutional ownership. Bitcoin is not going anywhere at all. I'm going to continue to say this. In 2024, I personally believe that Bitcoin definitely will be considerably amount higher. I try not to just put all these numbers on it, but I will say that you have a lot of financial institutions with price targets on Bitcoin for 200,000, 500,000. So I just tell people, do not be alarmed when you start to see some of that stuff happen. Now, the timeline on that, we'll have to see. But Bitcoin is not going anywhere. Crypto is not going anywhere. It is only going to get bigger. It is only going to get bigger. Even if we pull up and we take a look at Ethereum, we take a look at Bitcoin, we take a look at a lot of the quality cryptos, you know, we have seen incredible growth cycles in a lot of them. I will tell people to be careful with the NFT space. I know there's a lot of NFT projects out there. really coming up with this phantom value, in my opinion. A lot of these NFTs out here don't have actual use cases. So this is my number 4 thing that I'm worried about. It's just people going out there and spending thousands of dollars on NFTs and not really having an education of what they're buying. And then also as well that there's a lot of people up here who are setting up NFT shops and they are taking people's money. And, it could really be, people could really get hurt. That's one of the first things. People could really get hurt in the NFT space, in the crypto space, just buying anything and just throwing a bunch of money at anything. If there's something that you really want to speculate on, put like $100, $200, $300. That way, okay, a couple $100, you won't really lose sleep if something bad happens. But if something great happens, boom, you made a nice good bit of money. It's all about really risk to reward when it comes to the NFT space. I do believe that the crypto space is only, guys, going to continue to grow. Only going to continue to grow in 2022. The crypto space is only going to continue to grow, and you are going to see it be adapted into more of our economies, especially here in the US. You're going to see companies like Visa and MasterCard continue to offer crypto. You're going to see people start to spend crypto more and more. You're already seeing it in some places in the country. It's going to happen more and more and more. You're going to see more people take checks in Bitcoin. You're going to see more and more people. And these are the things that I tell people to pay attention to. You're going to see the government get more involved in crypto. They already are involved in crypto. They've spent millions on top of millions of dollars. They've given it to Raytheon. They've given it also to Boeing. They've given it to Lockheed Martin. They've given it for the security and defense. So I just continue to tell people that, these projects, Solana, I think will be one of the top crypto performers of 2022. Solana will be one of the top crypto performers of 2022. Chainlink as well too. Polkadot will make a comeback. Sushi Swap. You'll see the DeFi space grow as well too. And there always will be winners and there always will be losers. I continue to see growth in the crypto space, continuing to grow. But you may see some pullbacks throughout the year. I would be a buyer of a pullback under 42,000 on Bitcoin and going to 28K. So, from the chart, there is a major support level at 28K. I personally think they may try to get it down there to those levels so they could go ahead and buy. I personally believe that. So they could go ahead and buy at those levels. And yeah, that's kind of, my thoughts there. Now, number 5 is China. The issue with China, I'm really looking at China and watching China closely. I've been saying this for a while. The continued development of smart cities, they're trying to remove a lot of their companies from being publicly traded here. There's definitely some risk there with the Baidus, the Babas, the Neos, all of those good Chinese companies. But I'm looking at the China government, and also I'm also looking at Russia. I'm looking to see. They're building up their militaries very, very, very strong. I know this is a topic that not a lot of people want to talk about, but a potential, I'm not going to say a war, but there could be potential controversy brewing. I think the U.S. has gotten a little bit complacent. And one of the things I always say about, when we get complacent, just all collectively as just an individual human being, a lot of times you can't get complacent. A lot of times you got to keep your eyes on the prize and stay focused. Also, COVID is not an issue that has ended. It's still, affecting a high rate of people here. We're seeing about 260,000 daily cases reported here in the U.S. 260,000 daily cases here reported in the U.S. So these are things that I want us to watch and pay attention to, how these things adversely affect the markets. Well, the markets did well. The S&P 500, the Dow, and the NASDAQ went up 27%. In 2021, the NASDAQ went up. It went up 43% in 2020. So the NASDAQ, the tech stocks have done increasingly well. A lot of the tech stocks, the smaller ones, have fallen off. Your Facebook, I think Facebook is going to be the sleeper of the year. That is my number 5 pick. Facebook is going to be the sleeper of the year. I do have a price target for 400 on Facebook. I do see it hitting that here in 2022. So Facebook, augmented reality, the Oculus, I do believe that will drive further growth for the company. The metaverse, when we start talking about Decentraland, when we start talking about Sandbox, those are two coins as well that are sleepers this year. Mana, Decentraland, and also Sandbox. Those are two sleepers in the crypto space this year. My personal opinion, those are two sleepers that you could see potentially. Mana and Sandbox, you could potentially see both of those potentially gap up and, run rampant and run hot and, move out of here. In my opinion, I expect those two. I expect Sandbox to get to $15 to $20. And I expect Mana to get to $10 to $15 over the course of this year. So those are two of my sleepers when it comes to the augmented reality space. When we talk about Oculus, we talk about Metaverse. Those are kind of two names on my mind. And just continue to really be a long-term investor. That's the best thing that I could really tell people is long-term invest. And the last thing is live below your means. Living below your means, in my opinion, can really help all of us out. Like living below your means, not spending money on stupid stuff, not going out here and financing all of these cars to look good for people. Delayed gratification. I take a look at other cultures and I see, them, when they're in their some even in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, you ask them questions as far as, how did you get this? What did you do? And they always say delayed gratification. So you don't got to be the first to get the nicest car. Maybe be the person in the middle. That person in the middle, you might have been that someone who's saved and invested your money for 5 years, and then boom, you set yourself up differently, and boom, now you going and getting that car that you really wanted. It don't even really affect you. You're not even stressing out about that, having that car at all. So that's what I kind of just tell people is have that self-confidence in yourself, believe in yourself, affirmations. I can, I will, and it must be done. That's what I always tell people that I live by. I can, I will, and it must be done. So speak that every single day. And that's the opportunities. And the opportunities in life are endless. So take care of your health. Health is wealth. And I can, I will, it must be done. If you like this video and you really want to see more content like this, drop some comments below. Definitely subscribe to my channel, the Panthers News Network. We're coming to you guys daily here, every single day. We're coming to you guys here in 2022. So every single day, the Panthers News Network will be live and active. So peace out, guys. Blessings.